Alright, so this is Volskaya Industries, and this will be a VOD review of our scrimmage match against Team Spartans. This was our previous scrim at the time of recording this. So yeah, let's get into it. So first, in terms of comps, we can talk about win conditions. So we're running a Ryan Zarya, a double sniper, and they're running Zen Goats. So in terms of the win condition of each comp, our win condition, in terms if you want to talk ultimates, definitely Grav Dragons. Another win condition in neutral fights or fights without using ultimates can be Widows getting picks on any of the supports. Usually, if you can shut down one support and we keep the entire team alive, that's that's a done deal for Goats. After you get a Widow pick or maybe even a Hanzo pick, you can use the speed app from the Lucio and exhaust a lot of Moira resources for a quick burst and run at them, being that they're a man down. And then Goats, I think win conditions are easier to figure out. Kind of run forward. They're going to build ultimates pretty fast because their Rhine can be a lot more aggressive than ours, especially if they have a Zenyatta to put Discord on our main tank. We do not have that same pressure available to us. We can only use our Lucio to disengage. We can't, under normal circumstances, use the same amount of aggression as they can. So they're going to be really aggressive, and basically we have to find a way to be passive, kind of avoiding the tide of Goats and slowly burning them down through attrition. And something we also have to watch out for is our limited Moira healing, because we have to, or really the Moira player here has to balance out the resources even more than you normally have to, because this comp, once Moira has expended all her resources, is in big trouble, because it's difficult for Moira to regain those resources, being that they're running a very close-knit Reinhardt comp with that shield. Unless the fight gets really chaotic, which we don't really want for this comp in the first place, Moira's gonna have a hard time just using the biotic grasp on any target. Okay, so we scout Goats at the very beginning because of the Sonic Arrow on spawn, which kind of incentivizes us to know to play passively at the very beginning. Okay, so I'd say this is the first mistake of the game, which is this bubble. So, because I've already seen this, so I know it in hindsight that you don't get any energy. That part isn't the mistake itself. I think that even if you get like full energy off of it, which is gonna be rare anyways, because we know they're playing Goats and not like a spam comp. So like the damage that they're outputting is controlled damage, if that makes sense. Unlike a Junkrat where you can't really control where your grenades are going. So yeah, not only are they running a comp that has less spam, blind spam, also just in general, you want to avoid preemptive bubbles because, the enemy team can capitalize on the fact that, you're completely defenseless now. You're just like 400 HP with nothing to help you. I mean, of course you have a team behind you, but this could signal the aggression from the enemy. But it's a little too early in the game for anything to happen. But yeah, in general, preemptive bubbles can lead to disaster. Okay, also, just to take a look at the general positioning of the team, something that's really good, I think, is Aiden's positioning here, because of just how Goats works, they're going to want to attack the main line here, and Aiden is pretty safe right about here. If he can take the low ground, if D.Va or Lucio, which are the only heroes that can really contest him, try to solo contest, he can easily grapple up here. So he's in a great position to get a crossfire, avoid he can avoid the Rhine shield or get around the Rhine shield, and even the directional defense matrix. Okay, so what's going on? So their Rhine goes for an aggressive pin, and hold on a second. What was that pin? So they use bubble pretty early on their Reinhardt as well, which I would say is also a mistake because they don't really need to use that bubble. If they were to save that bubble, knowing that we have our personal bubble down, if they can Lucio amp and pop both bubbles to be aggressive on our main tank. Oh, okay. And we use our projected bubble here too. So I think this is the standard like aggression bubble that we normally do, which in this case I don't think is a good idea. Like under normal circumstances, if the enemy team is dive or a similar Ryan Zarya comp, not goats, I think that this bubble's fine. But only because they're running goats, we have to be the passive. Like we're always on the defense unless there's an explicit advantage, which in this scenario there is not. So I think it's best that you save bubbles for their aggression rather than ours. Okay, so the Ryan goes for a pin, and I assume Dan tries to go for a counter pin here. But does Ak boop that Ryan out of the way, or does it just straight up miss? No, Ak doesn't boop him. He's charging nothing. Okay, or maybe that's like I don't know. So, okay, we burn charge and they burn charge. That's fine. Okay, but here they start getting a little bit aggressive. Okay, so well, let me play it a little bit more. That's another projected bubble from their Zarya. Okay, so right here, what we can, in terms of positioning, something that might be good for us is instead of this positioning, actually, let me roll it back just a few seconds more. Okay, so a few seconds earlier, Ak was about here, and he booped them all back. So rather than taking this positioning, like I like this split Zarya positioning, but the only issue with this positioning is that, well, so you just used personal bubble, and then you're retreating, which is good, because, without personal bubble, you're a dive target. But even better is if we actually just split the Lucio and the Zarya and have them together here, then you can be even more passive with your personal bubble, so you can be more aggressive on this flank, attacking, so that if they dive you, you actually have the Lucio to boop for you first. You don't even have to use your personal bubble, because Lucio is hard to get. It's hard for goats to get their hands on, and he has the speed to get the Zarya out. So I think in this positioning we can actually split 3-3. You have the main core here. You have the main tank who's going to be taking damage from their front line with the Moira healing him. You have the Hanzo for frontline damage. You have the Widow split all the way over here to make a crossfire. And then in addition, you have a Zarya to also get flank damage and the Lucio to speed them out. Because really here, the Lucio, you don't really need to be here because, I mean, yes, your speed is viable to, retreat, but we're not in trouble right now. And, they're not going super aggressive, so it's fine to have that split positioning. Okay, so this was a bit of a I don't know if this is miscommunication, but we boop and then we project it at the same time, which are like two peel abilities that kind of mitigate each other's value. Because now the Zarya can't get any energy off of this bubble because you boop them back. But I think that was a communication thing, not any specific person's fault. How about though? Let me rewind, because I don't think that bubble was needed either. Yeah, so I think again this is a preemptive bubble, just because this is anticipating the idea of them being aggressive, but just because in this matchup it's very important to, well, not very important, just their comp is a lot more aggressive than ours is in the main line or in the front line. We just need to be really passive with bubbles and not use them. We have to use them reactively instead of proactively for the most part, unless we're taking the initiative, which we're not. Okay, so here Dan's shield is low, and I believe he also called the shield regen. This Lucio positioning is good, just being up here. Because, there's no one that can contest you. You can get free damage. You can pretty much get the heal, and if anything bad happens, you're free to come down. So, yeah, right now, the Lucio and the Widow have, optimal positioning. But you can even, the Widow here can actually even take a riskier positioning and even, come out here on the low ground, because their supports are all playing here. So from his sightlines, you can't really see much until they push up. You're free to flank all the way out here, because again the D.Va's the only thing that can contest you, and if D.Va flies to you, D.Va's taken out of the fight for a few seconds, and then you can grapple back to the high ground, and you're effectively in the fight faster than the D.Va is. So, yeah, you can be a little more aggressive here. Okay, we lose our Rhine shield, which isn't great. Okay, now here's something important. So here, our Reinhardt is discorded, and of course their Reinhardt is not, because we don't have a Zenyatta. So, I get that you don't have shield, so you can't shield, but in this scenario, I would back off. It's risky to take, like, even 2 swings at the Reinhardt instead of backing off, just because you have discorded, they're running goats. We don't have a projected bubble either. So, yeah, like, yes, the Moira can pocket you, but that might not be enough. Okay, so like here you get very close to dying, and you are saved by a Moira orb and a projected bubble. Okay, slam misses, that's fine. So here there's a dragon strike which is heading this way. So I thought that the dragon strike was a good idea because they're all right here. So the dragon strike ends up, okay, this damn sound. The dragon strike ends up triggering their beat. Because here, like, one of them would have died if there was no sound barrier. So I think that's fine. Then Reinhardt goes for a pin. Unlucky that we don't get the reaction in time. And our Moira is up here because she was booped by this pin. So, I mean, yes, maybe our Moira, Isabel, you could have reacted faster. Like, here, I'll show you. Cursor, boom, F2. Here, you get booped, and then you fade left. And it carries you a little farther than I think you anticipated. But either way, the Rhine was pretty fucked, so that doesn't really matter. What bubbles do we have right now? None, and what... Okay, this is a VOD review attempt to a re-recording. Yes, we are. Okay, let's go back to where we left off. It's not there. Not there. Nope. I did not make it very far in the review. Okay. They're poking up. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So something I wanted to touch on very briefly was when that Reinhardt died to the... Or when Dan died to that pin. Okay, I was saying that the Moira might have been able to react faster, but I retract my statement. So I don't think you did anything wrong there. Okay. The Reinhardt overextended and died, being caught in a crossfire with a Widow Hanzo and a fairly hard charge Zarya. Okay, something I also mentioned here was Ock. Yes, you're low right now, but once you regain health, you can go after this Zenyatta, being that there's little peel for him other than D.Va, and if D.Va goes for the peel, then they lose out on that D.Va being in the fight in the first place. Okay, so they pop Transcendence, and then Isabel manages to get a Coalescence off to respond, which maybe could have come out earlier, only because just to match the... And you want to anticipate the aggression of this team in terms of this Coalescence, only because you know they're going to be aggressive with this Transcendence. They're not using it reaction. They're not, like, using it to just sit and heal, because they're all, like, they're fine. Okay, Frank ends up getting split, which I would say is unlucky. I don't think there was much that anyone could have done there. Like, even if Isabel rotated with him, I don't think he would have survived that. And from then on, it's just clean up. Okay, now something I consider a mistake here is when we invest the sound barrier right there. Okay, so this sound barrier, the problem is, yes, it's a 3v4, which on paper we can win with a sound barrier, but you have to take into account which heroes are actually alive. Widowmaker, Lucio, and Moira cannot kill these 4 heroes. There's just too much AoE healing. Okay. Dan goes to contest, and yeah, that's the end of that one. So yeah, because I've just recorded this and now I'm re-recording it, in hindsight, I know that sound barrier is very crucial for what happens next. Okay, so they're pushing up here. Okay, now a bunch of things are happening. Let me track bubble usage just so I don't be a total idiot. Personal was used for an attempt at energy. That's fine. They used the projected there. We used personal early. Okay. I don't think this is a good bubble. Only because, like, yes, it's going to get you energy, but, like, what if they push up and, like, kill you afterwards? Like, they can, that can be punished. That's my point. Okay. But the good news is, so they bomb. And they rally to in response to the graviton. Now, okay, so notice there that you give projected to Dan. Right there. So I understand why you'd want to give projected to someone when the bomb's coming, but again, it's Reinhardt and not Lucio or something. So he's fine, unless he calls shields down. Now, something that I also don't like from Dan here is that Dan could have been positioned here, maybe get one swing, then back off, shield at the last second to avoid the explosion, because you're getting no value here from just shielding. Like, okay, then if you want to make the argument that you don't want to be taking damage, then you should shield this way. And then block the bomb. You know what I mean? And also, if you hadn't used this personal so early, after the bomb goes off and Dan's right here, he can be swinging. Put the projected on him so he can do a few more swings. Because yes, even though they're in a grab, they still pose a threat to Dan when he has no shield up or bubble to help him. Because each swing on one target gives you about like 5% ult charge. And with 4 people in this grab, like he's only at 40% ult charge. But 2-3 swings can get him back to, like 3 swings gets him back to his ultimate here. Like that's what's so cool right now. And she's at 80. Okay, she did get full energy for both of them. But being down both bubbles this early in the fight is not what you want. So actually, I don't know if anyone saw them, but if someone had seen both bubbles, that would have been the call. They used both bubbles. Then that translates to aggression. Because we have our Lucio amp, speed, we have both our, I mean, we just used one of them. But we have, oh, we used personal bubble. 6 seconds ago. Okay, that was an energy bubble. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, I would save that. Like, yeah, it's good to get early game energy, but just in case the enemies make a mistake, like using both bubbles at the same time really early in the fight, we can use that to go aggressive. But that, I guess, like, that's pretty okay. Only because the Zarya isn't necessarily the one that's going aggressive, it's the Reinhardt. So as long as you keep the projected up. Okay, so yeah, this is when they already used both bubbles. Okay, so one oh, okay, wait. Hold on. Let's see. Nice skin. Oops. Okay, so, but there, as soon as that Reinhardt... What is going on? Okay, as soon as that Reinhardt had dropped shield, that's the cue to Discord. Like, the moment you can Discord Reinhardt, you Discord the Reinhardt. Because for a little bit you had Discord on who? No one. Okay, but you had Discord on like someone, like it was like a Brig, and then it swapped. But yeah, as soon as you have the opportunity to Discord Ryan, you Discord Reinhardt. Unless like there's one obvious target who's like completely overextending, you always want the Discord on the Reinhardt. And even here, like even if Reinhardt was full health, you'd want Discord on him. But he's not. He's at, what, like 200 here? So yeah, Discord on the Rein. Allows us to push up. Yeah, here we could have gone way more aggressive. The Reinhardt was half, but they just use armor pack. They probably don't have bubbles, or maybe they're coming up on one of them. Oops. Yeah, they don't have either bubble. Their Diva's hacked. Like, this is aggro, aggro, aggro. And look, okay, what cooldowns do we have? We just used amp. Okay, we'll see how that goes. We have armor pack. Okay, and we have neither bubbles. But yeah, like, this is enough to go aggressive. Use the amp for healing. Yeah. So, I don't think that amp was necessary. Did you see something that triggered that? Okay, the amp just comes out. Yeah, that was a wasted amp. So just so we can save it for speed aggression. Usually in goats, that's what I would look for as a general rule. Not always, but as a general rule. Okay, Discord's on their Diva right now. Does the Discord go back in the Rhine? No, okay. But we do get their Diva out of mech. Okay, so good Discord then. All right. Dan gets the personal bubble, or fuck, Dan gets the projected bubble, which allows him to go aggressive. So that's a nice bubble. So then Reinhardt pins our Brig, which is unlucky. But it allows us to kill the Reinhardt. So I'll take it. Spawn advantage, Brig for Rein. Yeah, so that personal bubble right there, like, that's fine, only because we don't really have the Q to be super aggressive just because we've lost our Reinhardt and Brig. So, like, that's a fine energy bubble. Okay, oops. So our Sombra is on the flank. Their D.Va's back in mech. Do I die here? Oh, I do. Okay. Well, should have translocated out faster, because if I didn't die there, I would have been able to translocate out, come back quickly, probably farm with an EMP, and get the EMP much faster than what actually happened. And their Reinhardt's still in spawn. Like, I might have been able to get the EMP off before the Reinhardt even respawned. So that is my bad. Oh, Isabel kills their Zenyatta. How did that happen? Their Zen is half. Oh. Did she headshot him twice? I'm so curious. That headshot hit the Lucio. Oh, Zen's just... Oh, Zen was half from the Sombra spam. And then Isabel manages to catch the headshot. Nice. Okay, they're retreating to point. To the Mega Room. Okay. Now, alright, we take this time to be aggressive, which I think is good. So actually here, Ankh, knowing that the Reinhardt's respawning, if you play like here, you can see where the Reinhardt's coming from. A smarter Reinhardt play maybe would be to come from the stairs, but that takes more time. So normally the Reinhardt's are going to come here, right? That's where respawns will come from. So knowing that he's respawning, positioning yourself, you know, closer on this side, and whipping him back, just to keep him like out of the fight for a little longer. I think that's worth it. Where's our Sombra? Oh, respawning. Okay. Okay, so bubbles just got used. Alright, we used our personal. Okay, I think that was for energy, but you're already at max energy. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is less of like, this is just more of like a play style. Like, just used, like, I think in general for this, for the play style of how we're doing things right now, just use your personal bubble later and less for energy, because you can get more value off of it being later, even though you miss out on some energy. So they use personal. Do they have projected? No, they do. Okay, so D.Va gets demaxed how? Their D.Va rushes out and gets the Discord. That was good Discord, by the way. So D.Va, this is a huge mistiming. I guess she doesn't understand that the Reinhardt's right behind her. So D.Va rushes out, gets punished for it. Alright, that was a good punish. Okay, they beat, and they use their projected. But the Reinhardt's so passive. Why? So the play, that was a huge mistake. So I think their play here is sound barrier, push up. Don't even use projected yet because Reinhardt's fine. But they use beat and projected, and they still don't push up with that Reinhardt. And also, in addition to this, EMP. Okay, so we're back. So what are they doing wrong? This is the whole concept of, yes, they're not pushing up with their sound barrier. That is their biggest mistake here. So we get an EMP off. Oh, this is still 2 times speed. Stop that. So we get an EMP off, which catches all the members that are actually here. Not the Zen, of course, because he's not here. Now, what we do wrong in this fight is target priority. Aiden's fighting Rein. I'm also fighting Rein. Okay. Dan goes for a pin. Now he's in the middle of nowhere. Frank's going after Lucio. I don't know what Ox doing, flying in the middle of nowhere. Zen is also hitting the Reinhardt. So we have 3 on Rein, 1 on Lucio. I don't know what Ox doing, and Dan. I forgot what Dan swings at, actually. But yeah, like, target priority is all over the place. So, like, Dan misses this Lucio here, which Frank is targeting, to go for maybe a Reinhardt, but then realizes he's dead. So, what happens is, now Ankh beats, which I also think is another wasted beat. Just because Like I believe he said that it was for self-survival, which I understand, but I don't think you would have died in this scenario. You were about half health. Like right here. Like I think you were pretty safe. And okay, worst case scenario, you do die. Like, that's not the end of the world. They've lost their Reinhardt, and they're about to lose their Lucio too. Now, they commit a rally, and we counter rally, which, okay, I understand why, but look how low the Brig is. She's discorded, she's about to get hacked too. And then we grab her as well. Like, this is a big overcommitting of ultimates. The best case scenario there would have been, instead, when Ock used the sound barrier, instead of committing a sound barrier, you commit a rally. That could have easily cleaned up this fight without the use of the grab or the sound barrier. And then from there, it's clean up. Okay, so next fight. Dan gets deleted. Okay, so talk about bubble usage here. Bubble usage. Because usually when a Ryan dies, that's what happened. Oh, you're already up here. Look at you go. Use an early personal bubble, which is fine because no one's here yet. Okay. Let's see when the projector comes out. Okay, notice why our Zen is better than their Zen. Their Reinhardt discorded, and our Reinhardt doesn't yet receive the discord. I think he does eventually. So that's an early... Okay, that's a projected bubble, which it is almost fine. It's good that he's going aggressive. I actually think he goes over-aggressive. You get a little... Like, maybe a little too many swings and a little too far forward. But just by a tiny bit, Dan's a little bit over-aggressive. And he's already chunked down to, what, 200 HP, 170? And he gets the discord from when he's swinging because his shield was down. Now, if you had instead saved the projected bubble for right now, and they push him, you can cleanse this discord, and as long as he's holding shield, he's not going to receive another discord. So I would say just keep that in mind for an alternate use of bubble, is cleansing discord. Because their Reinhardt is going to keep the discord on him as long as Isabel maintains line of sight, and same for our Reinhardt. So just keep that in mind as a future thought. And he gets punished for being a little over-aggressive and having the discord on him. They, I would say, overcommit ultimates here. I think the bomb was unnecessary. And we are sent back to spawn. Okay. Reinhardt's attack. Okay, so that shatter. Something I didn't like about that shatter, not from just the Reinhardt, but from the Lucio, actually. So it was called that we were going to go for a hack shatter, and you as Lucio, wherever Lucio is, I don't know where he is. Oh, over here. So, first of all, you want to get back to the team, but I think this was like in the middle of a retreat, so that's fine. But when you hear that we're looking for a shatter combo, you want to make it over to the team so that you can use your speed to take advantage of what speed can do with shatter. And I'll show you why. Okay, so say if your team's playing around this pillar right here, okay? So say if team 1 over here, Reinhardt's shielding this way. Team 2 is over here, Reinhardt's shielding this way. No, bad example. Team 1's here, Reinhardt's shielding this way. Team 2 is here, Reinhardt's shielding this way. Very close. So this pillar is not optimal because of this box right here, but there are maps with pillars with no box. So point being, if you amp speed, shatter from the flank can be very quick. Give you that extra mobility while he's flying through the air with the shatter. Now, what I don't like here from, actually, I shouldn't say just the Ryan, from the Ryan and me, the Sombra, is that this communication wasn't perfect. Because if you shatter right here, you get at least 4. You get at least 4. If you had Lucio here, you can speed and you can get 5. You can get the Diva as well. Now, what I don't like about the communication between the Sombra and the Ryan is that Dan's reacting to the hack, which is not what you want. Dan should want to react. No, Dan shouldn't want to react at all. He wants to shatter proactively. He doesn't want to see hack and be like, oh, it's my time. That's not what you want. Because then you have to have the reaction time to the hack along with the casting time of the shatter. You might miss the opportunity. Which in this case, we only end up shattering 3. So just having that trust of kind of pressing Q as the hack is just completing is what you want here. Because we end up missing the Ryan with that shatter. After he gets hacked, he knows to back off. And I don't know how we hit Zen, but, you know, it happens. Okay, now, also... Okay, Reinhardt fire strikes right here. But what I don't like about this fire strike is that we know that this combo is about to come out because it's been called. So if you had saved fire strike, look at this. You could have hit like 3 guys here, at least, with your fire strike. Okay. Now, something else I don't like. The early pin. So yes, you secure a kill, but you miss out on something because when your ultimate is active, like right now, you don't get any ult charge, of course. So the best thing to do with your Earth Shatter, when you shatter a lot of people like this, is, I'll show you. Watch this then. Okay, right here. When he's getting up, the shatter is still considered active, but if you pin someone while they're in the middle of this animation, by the time you impact with the wall or the surface, the shatter will have effectively ended, and you will gain that ult charge. And if you get a full pin of 300 damage, that's like it can be anywhere from like a solid like 21%, I think, right? Because swing's 50 or swing is 5% ult charge. So yeah, like you can get a decent amount of ult charge from just getting a pin as your shatter is ending, just so that you exit the shatter instead of with 0 with 20. Okay, so their Reinhardt is separated. Oh, also something about the shatter that we need to improve on is communicating who you're going to pin so that no one focuses the target because you're going to delete them anyways. Okay, here are the Reinhardts in the backline. And something that I don't like is when Aiden is engaging this Reinhardt, and you do have shield bash, hindsight. Like, yes, it's a hacked Rein or a backline who's low and discorded, but he still poses a threat. Because, like, you need to just keep that check in your mind that, like, this Reinhardt still can hurt me, because you end up getting pinned, which you could have countered with a shield bash, which I don't expect you to purely react to, but I do want you to have that knowledge of he's going to pin so that you can manage that reaction better. Okay, he comes out, but luckily you get saved, but I wouldn't count on that. Okay. Also, a really early armor pack usage on the Reinhardt. I mean, yes, he's not going to die because of it, we're not going to get punished, but still, it's better to not waste cooldowns. Okay, I'm waiting for that moment. Right here. Okay. Look at everyone's health. Full. Grav comes out. Grav's like right there. So everyone's full health. Now keep this in mind. And then we Transcendence. Now, okay, again, this is the whole thing about wasting cooldowns and abilities. So I would consider this a waste of Transcendence because the moment you press Transcendence, first of all, there's no one to be healed. And even if people get low in the Grav, I don't think they would have died. But, so like, there's three ways you could have done this. Trance on the Grav, like you did, which is, I think, the worst scenario. Something slightly better is when people get low in the Grav and then you trance, which I still don't think would have been viable because we're at enough health. Last case is you save the Transcendence, which would have been the best. Now, we don't get punished for this misstep, but in general, you want to get that out of your mind. You don't want to instantly just, oh, Grav comes out, I'm going to Transcendence, because that's a bad habit to build. Because, yes, in most scenarios, that's what you want to do, but not in all. That's my point. And from here, it is just cleanup. Okay, let's go see our next attack. That's too far forward.
Initiating match. Ready for battle.
Let me make sure I'm not completely throwing this here. Right now. So maybe she was. This VOD starts at 3:19 of our attack. Okay, so we have about 30 seconds to record here left. Or 30 seconds left here to record.
Defend objective A.
Okay, so this composition, how does it threaten ours? Well, what I don't like about this composition from them, You have 2 strong healers in terms of raw healing. And you don't need that much healing. Something else I don't like. They have a Reaper. But they have Orisa, Hog, McCree, which suggests you want to be at long range. But you have Reaper, which suggests you want to be closer. Yes, Reaper can flank, but he doesn't capitalize on the range that this Orisa shield gives you. Like, if you run a Hanzo here, or Junkrat, right, that gives you a lot of long range damage. Okay, the big advantage that their comp has is that we don't have a D.Va to mitigate, actually really, like, a lot of their damage. We can't mitigate orbs, we can't mitigate anti, we can't mitigate flanking Reaper. Okay, so we come out rolling left side here. Okay, and this left side push it ends up becoming a right side push. But what I don't like about this is how passive we are. Like, we can run into them here. We don't need to stand here and shield this damage. Shield hop forward, Lucio speeds. Aggression. Their main tank is discorded. Yes, she's probably gonna use Fortify and get pocketed. But we have a Zenyatta for damage, and we have a Reinhardt and a Brig. Like, we can run over this composition really quick. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We should have been more aggressive. So maybe she was contesting McCree, and I'm just being an idiot, didn't have to say anything. McCree's half right now. What put him to half? Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, so this is exactly what I was talking about. So I didn't have to say anything. Pick brain. And again, when McCree comes back, contests him. Nice. Nice. Okay, so that was good Zen play. Actually, something I'm confused at is where did we have personal bubble when Dan was getting fucked? Oh, no, wrong one. Oh, okay. Oh, it's given to Ock. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a warranted personal bubble or projected bubble, but like this is Ock's mistake here. Like, if he wasn't here in such a dangerous positioning, we wouldn't have to invest those resources to keeping him alive. And also, he takes the emergency armor pack, or whatever the fuck it's called, the armor pack. Ugh. Bum 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 bum. And now they're a bit up on ult economy, but not by much. We managed to already charge 50 on our EMP and 60 on our Shatter, which is decent. And our supports are all kind of sitting at 40. And I think our support ults will have a bigger impact than theirs. Oh yeah, okay, so this is where the McCree was all alone. And Ak was like, go get the McCree that's that's right here. I'm like, what McCree? I was like, oh shit, that one. Okay. So yeah, I don't know what he's doing, but he feeds. Nice boop. That was actually a well-placed whip shot from pretty far away. Okay. So, they're down McCree. Ultimates, none. So they'll have coalescence. Okay, so that projected bubble was fine. Actually, not fine. That was a good projected bubble. But that pull was pretty devastating. Pull into a coalescence, just a good amount of damage. Forces us this personal, which is fine. And then Dan has pretty much no shield. Because the Roadhog's ulting, right? No, he's not. But he has no hook. A great Shatter. They have no shield. Does she have shield on cooldown? Nope. F12. No, she doesn't. Alright, great Shatter. I don't know if you tracked the shield. If you didn't, even better. Yeah, and the Fire Strike comes after. Ah, see? Here's what I mean. If you pin... Oh, wait. Yeah. If you pin... Yes, the Ana was half. But, like, look, you at least got 5%. Technically, better to pin the Roadhog. But again, like, wait. Actually, Roadhog wasn't stunned, was he? I'm stupid. Oh, he was stunned. Yeah. Technically, at the end of the Shatter, the best move here is to pin the Roadhog. That was a good whip shot on the Reaper, just in case he had ultimate. Now we're all beefed up. Okay, so here, this is like, I hope we win this fight, because we should. We have 5 ultimates. Like, the only way for us to get delayed here is if someone overextends and dies.
Objective lost.
Which might have happened now that I'm thinking about it.
Defense point. Objective B.
Because I think we had no time when we were coming up with this. Okay, pop rally early, I believe that was called. So, fine. Pushing up on this hacked Orisa. Okay, now, one mistake here by Dan. Sorry, Dan. Well, actually, I'll go back. Okay. Let's slow it down to... we'll go to quarter again. Okay. So we're pushing up. We know that the Orisa is the target. So here, Dan turns to fight this Orisa. But the only issue with that, like, yes, that's the target. And, yes, that's the target, and that's good target priority. But there's still 5 people over here who can output damage into this team that we're not shielding. So, in general, it's okay, Dan, for you to shield the team while the rest of us handle the target. And also, yeah, well, no, actually, that's it. Yeah, shield the team. But we do end up shredding the Orisa. Because if she had gone this way and Reaper had been more aggressive, something bad might have happened. But yeah, I think the better play there would have been to shield. Even if we have the rally. Okay. Oh yeah, this is where Dan gets shot by the Deadeye. Okay, unlucky. So at this point, everyone's kind of confused. Is this winnable? Is this not winnable? I think it was, like, it is winnable, but it's not our advantage. Because we're down our 2 heavy hitters in terms of damage, but they're down their shield. Roa gets hacked. Though I think that hack, like, the hack itself might not have been bad, but, like, what came after the hack was bad, because I'm pretty sure after I hacked Roadhog, I was like, oh, Roadhog's the target. But Roadhog shouldn't have been the target. We invested a lot of resources into trying to kill 500 HP when we could have just, killed Moira or Ana easier. But Roadhog does die. Oh, okay, but we retreat. The good news is we retreat with our 3 ultimates, so no one pops an ult out of sync, which is good. They have 4 ultimates. Okay, let's see what anyone pulls off here. Reaper's TP'd onto the high right, which is scouted by the Sombra. They missed the full hook. They miss hook again. Reaper knows he's been scouted. Yeah, okay, so I decloak and I shoot at the Reaper to try to get him off, but I think I should have realized that there's no way I could have gotten the Reaper to fuck off. And now he knows he's been scouted, which is the disadvantage of that whole thing. Well, why are we backing off? Recharge shield? Okay. Are we looking for EMP here? I can't tell. Guess we are. Hog almost gets the hook. That could have been real bad. Shattered doesn't manage to hit anyone because Orisa's fortified. Did Orisa not get hit by EMP?
60 seconds remaining.
Oh, she fortified prior. Okay, EMP hits 4, which is fine. Oh, Moira, so close. Okay. Yes, maybe I could have, like, the actual EMP itself, I think, was pretty lucky. Like, I was so close to getting spotted out and hooked. Like, that EMP was a lucky EMP. Like, I should have destroyed my translocator and used it aggressively. Ends up working out, but by luck. Okay. Which is never something you really want to have. So Dan shatters off of the EMP, which again is one of those whole reactionary things of, the whole, you train yourself to shatter right after the EMP, which works in almost all scenarios, but in this scenario, that's not the play. Especially because the Orisa you see that the Orisa fortified prior. Okay, mistake here. It's pretty clear. Why does Ock beat? Does Ock actually see this Reaper, or does he get lucky? Oh, he does see the Reaper. Okay, so great beat, nice one. Unfortunately, we also invest Transcendence. I don't know if that was communication misplay, but definitely the beat was good. The reason why I don't like the trance, even if the beat wasn't there, is that the trance is a bit no, okay, that's fair. I guess if the beat wasn't here, the trance is viable, only because you're waiting for him to actually ult because it's instantaneous. But yeah, Ock, great reactions and anticipating. Could have been risky, but even if the Reaper doesn't go for this Death Blossom, we have Amp, and we have the Amp speed to be aggressive with it. Okay, who booped the Reaper? Was that Brig? That was Brig, right? Whip shot? Yep. Okay. So, again, another reactionary thing. You see Reaper, you're like, oh, I gotta get him away. But no, here Reaper's a target. He's not a threat. We have 2 support ultimates going. Even if we had 1, still, like, there's no need to whip shot him away. Like, that might have brought him to a better position. Because now, look, he's on our flank. And he's now no boosted supercharged. Of course, you couldn't have predicted that, but, like, we could have neutralized that threat earlier. What the fuck was that Deadeye? Did he just jump back and kill Ock? Alright. Re-recording again. Ock gets solo Deadeyed. F. But yeah, we're out of this fight. Okay. So, last fight. Dan makes a switch onto the Hammond because he sees there's 30 seconds left. But I don't think that's viable. Only because if you watch later in this VOD, you'll see that we are on the point. And Hammond and Winston, any dive tank gets destroyed by this composition. Like, look at all that damage in CC. Like, Reinhardt is still the play here, I think. Worst case scenario, you can have a Somber Touch just to trigger overtime.
10 seconds remaining.
Okay. Go for an early pile drive, or not early, you go for a pile drive, which is fine, but you get slept. Again, what I was talking about with all that CC. So we engage their front line here with our D.Va, which I don't think is the play, just because of how much damage they have there. So yeah, we get punished for that. That was a good rally. And as I had found out earlier, that is when you had gotten it. Optimally, we'd want to have it earlier, but we didn't have the rally. Okay. So target priority is kind of all over the place. Like these 2 guys here is what we want to target. But we end up getting a pick on the Moira, which is huge. So now that our D.Va's back in mech, so you first dive these 2 tanks as D.Va, but rather than doing that, like getting this McCree and Ana, you know, McCree can't really defend himself against D.Va, especially not when he's discorded. Same with Ana. Because like we can handle this front line. Okay. Then now the Reaper's on the flank. Now, what happens here is that Aiden doesn't have Bash. Frank is DMing this Deadeye, which I'd say is a better idea than DMing a Reaper who might not kill anyone. And Ox over here trying to avoid the Deadeye. There is no one to peel for the Brigand's End now. And guess what happens? Brig is antied and gets killed. Isabel manages to pick off the Reaper. Okay, so here she wants to go for the Orisa, which is fine. Like, this is pretty much already lost, but because of Isabel's discord and damage, we managed to pick off the Orisa. Now we're going for Hog, which again I think is good target priority from Akanai. He was almost dead, but we don't end up finding the kill. But that is the end of our attack. So let's move on over to their attack. Back to back. They're running the double sniper comp into our somber goods.
Defend objective A.
Okay, so they push up. They use... Was that both bubbles? Am I seeing things? Yeah, they use both bubbles so early, which we end up punishing, especially on this goats composition. We can punish really easily. Isabel discords this Ryan right now. Perfect. This is like perfect Zen play. Like, look at this. Knows they have double sniper. Safe from the Hanzo, right? Can see the Reinhardt. Puts discord on Reinhardt. Very nice. And of course we destroy the Reinhardt. And we back off. They get a nade, which prevents us from being as aggressive as we would have wanted to be. But I believe we ended up picking off Lucio. Oh no, we ended up picking up Hanzo. Oh, okay. The Lucio and the Brig go Russian. All right. So early advantage for us. We're a bit ahead in the ultimate economy, but not by much for it to actually matter. That early personal bubble is fine. Only because their comp can't be as aggressive as ours. It's okay to just use bubbles to get energy preemptively. Hack onto their Zarya, which probably wasn't the optimal hack target. But this is great from Lucio here, splitting the team, and now Reinhardt is all alone. Now, here's something that's unfortunate. Dan gets pinned when he's half. I think that's unlucky, because I don't think you have time to react to that. And Aiden just used Bash to bash the Reinhardt. So what I think what's optimal, you probably couldn't have avoided this situation, but like, how about a situation to just kill the Reinhardt? Instead of bashing that Reinhardt and just hitting him, if you tell Dan, why don't we do a bash pin? Because Dan has his pin up. What you can do here is you call for the bash pin, and when you're going to execute the bash pin, you have the Reinhardt actually press shift first because of the charge cast time, and then as he's just about to start moving, you stun their Reinhardt, and then he takes that Reinhardt off, and of course the Reinhardt dies, and our main tank stays alive. And after he's dead, you know, it's pretty much clean up against double sniper. You have this Widow flanking all the way on the right. Sure, like, Zen can kind of contest the Widow, but, like, not really. And against double sniper, no main tank, it's GG go next. Okay. Luckily, or not luckily, very unluckily, they have 3 ultimates coming up. We have maybe EMP. Okay. Okay, also, something I don't quite like is this support positioning. I think it's better if you station yourselves here up on the high ground. Only because what I like about this positioning is that you have cover from these double snipers, but you can have very similar cover up here or in here, and you don't have to worry about the Reinhardt and Zarya rushing you, which you do have to worry about if you're down there. Okay, Frank goes for this kind of high ground contest, which I think with a normal dive comp is fine, but only because we're running Bong Dive with such little healing, you can't afford to take this much damage because you drain our team of resources. But also I think that Bong Dive wasn't the pick here, only because they don't have anything to contest our Zenyatta, so the Lucio doesn't really have a role. You don't have to peel for Zen against these snipers. I mean, maybe the use of Lucio here is to be aggressive with the team, but in that case you want a Mercy, not a Lucio. And look, like, you're already half here, and of course you're gonna die anyways, but like, even if the supports could heal you, they'd have to focus a lot of attention on you to give you the harmony. Lucio would have to stay in your range to heal you up. Okay, our supports get shattered. Again, we have no support ultimates, but we couldn't have done anything even if we did have support ultimates. Dan, you do jump away, but I don't expect you to react to shatter with Winston Bubble. Yeah, I mean, like, if we were up here, we could have avoided that shatter. I mean, and even if they didn't have shatter, the Reinhardt could have just walked up and smacked you. Frank was getting demacked. Like, you know, sure, you can, like, run from the Reinhardt, but then you take yourselves out of the fight. That's my whole point. And we just got EMP, like, right now, and of course it's late because we didn't have it before, and from there we've lost. Alright, and yeah, I mean, like, it was a close game, and I think we did pretty well in general. I pointed out a lot of mistakes of different people, but, like, that, like, I don't think anyone was, like, throwing the game, or anyone did, like, really poorly. I think in general the performance was pretty decent, but we ended up getting outclassed, mainly to that double sniper composition. That's the one we did the worst against, but that happened to be to a lucky pin on our Reinhardt. So yeah, all done.